What's up, guys? Today we're going to do patina. Everybody's been asking about these two colors that I've been using for like 12 years, burnt sienna and raw umber. So let's go paint some crazy doors back there, okay? Come on, let's go. Burnt umber and burnt sienna. There's a few things I was going to show you. So there's a couple things we can do with the squirt bottle where we barely speckle it. So let's see, what do we got? We got plenty of brushes. Do we want brushes? No. We want stencils. Okay, look at that. There's one right there. All right. Gosh, I keep spilling it. Mix. What am I doing? Oh yeah, let's make a tan. All right, guys, let's get into today's video. We're gonna talk about patina, right? So we've got wicked colors from Createx, burnt umber and burnt sienna. There's a few things I was gonna show you. So there's a couple things we can do with the squirt bottle where we barely speckle it. Then there's another way where we can put water on it and we can use an air blower, blow the water off, and it's gonna leave little tiny speckles. So there's a few different tricks we can do. I've also had a lot of requests for people like, what are you putting under that color? These are liquid latex that you can get anywhere, or Hobby Shop, Michael's, Hobby Lobby. By the way, I apologize if you guys have weird sounds in the background. That's because the swamp cooler's on and it's rattling some stuff. So maybe I can edit that out. Anyways, so there's lots of different things we can do. There's dry brushing effects. There's foam or sponge effects. There's like there's so many different ways of doing this. Like I said, it's cool because you can do it on your cars. You can do it on walls. You can do it, I keep saying it because, like, again, we'll just keep going back to it. It's from the special effects world. So you can make your cars look evil. You can make them look crazy. You can make them look like candy. Who cares, right? Posca pens as well. These are all acrylic. So I've been getting a lot of questions on, can you take a solvent sealer and put acrylic over the top of it? Yes, you can. But here's the thing, guys. Just remember, whatever the base color is of whatever you're doing, whether it's your old 53 Chevy and it's got the original paint on it, or patina as they call it, it's flat. That's what you want. You want a flat surface. So if you have a solvent sealer, just go ahead and take a 600 or 800, scuff it down and get rid of that sheen, because the sheen is like pouring water over wax. It just goes like that. So, and then you painters know you shouldn't be putting a gloss over a gloss because it's not going to stick. So when you have acrylics and you have a flat surface, just like the Posca pens, that's an acrylic, you can just keep stacking the stuff as long as you want. Once you put a good clear coat on it, that's what's going to preserve it. So it's up to you guys on what clears you want. You can use a satin, you can use a matte, you can use a high gloss. We might just pull my little Ford Ranger in here and do it like the haunted rod, so you guys can actually see a hood. Because I did pull my hood off my truck to paint, and I thought, well, that doesn't really show you guys how it goes down the fenders too. So I think what I'll do when I find time, I will get my little truck, bring it in here, I'll scuff it down, we'll shoot it with the black sealer first, we'll put some silver sealer on it, then we'll do the squirt bottle effects. That way you guys can actually see a whole paint job. So, all right, now let's get to it. I think what I'm gonna do is we'll put some lighter colors up first, okay? So let me mix up some colors. We'll shoot this door a light color. That way you guys can really see the rust effects. Before I get started, there's one other color that Createx came out with. It's the Wicked Red Oxide. What is the part number? 0012. This one is also a really cool color. Okay, so between burnt sienna, burnt umber, raw umber, and red oxide, you can come up with some really wicked designs over silvers. If you're trying to make something look rusty, if you want something to look like it's old riveted, you know, worn out battleship or whatever. So there's all kinds of cool effects you can do with that stuff. All right, let's get started. All right, so here I want to show you a couple quick things. So these are also some brushes right here. See these ends? These are like perfect for if you're, like I would take sometimes a paper plate, pour some of the color into it, and then you can tap these and see the little tiny ends? You can dab this on and get little tiny pinholes. And then we'll do some dry brushing effects soon for fun, where it's all that good stuff, like Bob Ross. Okay, all right, and then I'm not a big fan of the sponge stuff. I don't know if you guys remember, like in the early 90s, we used to sponge walls, make them look cool. Anyways, all right, I'm gonna get some colors mixed. I think what I'm also gonna do is, so you guys can see the liquid latex, let's go ahead and spray this door with burnt sienna, okay? So we'll put a rust color on that first, then we'll put some liquid latex on it, then I'll get my hand out of the way, and then we'll go to this one and we'll do like a reverse. We'll just do the light color first, okay? All right, let's get to it. Oh, and by the way, this is a Iwata LPH80. Okay, this is one of their smaller guns. These are kind of pricey, but I think you can get something similar from other manufacturers, maybe even Harbor Freight. I should probably do a video on just using all Harbor Freight guns. That way you guys can see that, you know, a lot of times it's not necessarily the equipment, it's the operator. So anyways, yeah, I think these are like $350. Can't remember. But what's cool about these little LPH80s is, if you see in a lot of my videos, I'm shooting with this. You can still do a whole door with it. It's going to take you a minute because the pattern's only about that big. But what's cool is you can tighten this pattern down really tight to almost like a 0.5 airbrush. So if you didn't want to keep going back and forth between, like say your Eclipse airbrush, which I think this is a, I don't know if this is a 0.5, but this gets just a little bigger effects. So especially if you're doing a car or a wall, this is much faster than this. Trust me, I learned that the hard way. When I used to paint the cars at the beginning, I'd do the whole entire car with this. It would take like 40 hours. Now I can do it in like 10 hours. And don't forget, always make sure you have 4011 reducer. You don't always want to shoot it super thick, especially with some of the opaques. Okay, so that's your reducer. This is what we use for Createx. Now, if you're using solvents and stuff, that's a different story. Anyways, all right, I'm gonna mix up some colors right now. But let's take the big gun. This is another Iwata. We'll take this one real quick. We will do some burnt sienna in this guy right here. Do we have any left? Red oxide. Detail burnt sienna. Here's the thing. A lot of times, like, you don't even have to use candies. I think I explained this in one of the other videos. If you take silver, don't forget, now if you have a silver base, like this is why the haunted rod looks so crazy and it looks like bronze, is because we're mixing a couple colors together, but I'm thinning it out so thin that it's translucent. Like it literally is just a tint. So it's not technically a candy. The thing with the candy is you want to put a binder in with it, or you saw in my red video, if we hit it again with water, it just runs right back off. So put a binder in if you are going to actually use candy, but you technically don't always have to. Okay, I will shut my mouth. Let's get to it. Everybody was just paint, dude. Stop talking. But you guys need to know this info because it's all good information. Okay. What do we need? I need a mask. Oh, and by the way, this was a PPG fan sprayer for water base. Okay, what it does is, see all those little tiny holes in there? It sprays a little bit like a fatter pattern. So it does help dry acrylics faster, water base faster. But the other cool thing I like about it is, like, this one has the shutoff valve on it. So one of the things I was talking about earlier is we can take just water, okay, and just barely speckle the door, just like the old lowrider effect. Just barely speckle it. You don't want any runs or nothing. Then come back with, say, like your minigun, and just haze it lightly. We're gonna do this, and then you're gonna come back while it's still wet, and you're gonna blast all that water off there, and it's gonna leave little tiny pin speckles everywhere, which saves you a bunch of time. If you look in some of my old videos back in the day, man, I was sitting there doing it like this. I'm gonna be here for a year. You know what I mean? So you're just trying to speed it up. Let's go faster. Let's go, go, go. Because time is money. Time is money. Yeah, whatever. Okay. And then I'm gonna grab some effect stencils. I got them somewhere. Let's go grab them. Here, let's grab them real quick. Okay, so let's see. What do we got? We got plenty of brushes. Do we want brushes? No. We want stencils. Okay, look at that. There's one right there. This is an FX stencil. This one I think got kind of chewed up and ruined, but I think we got more stencils right here. There's a whole bunch. So, wait, let's grab that one. See what I mean? Like, so you can use these too. See the effects? So you can spray through this. There's lots of things you can do with this one particular stencil right here as well. So we'll bring this over. We'll use this one too. Yeah, it's like F, the letter F and X, FX stencil. So you see what I'm saying? Like say you're going for some heavy rust effects, you can do it with this too. And then stagger your colors, you know, like light to dark or dark to light, depending on how you want to do it. All right. Shut up, Travis, and paint, please. Something that's much faster and I'd say more reliable than using paper is use this stuff. So like what we would do, where are you? We would take and tape this backwards, meaning I'm going to take my masking tape. I know some of you guys don't care about this, but some of you do. So say we're doing a car, blah, blah, blah. We're going to go and we call this back taping. So we would back tape this all the way around the perimeter of the doors, windows, door jambs, whatever you're trying to cover. And then when you take this, you're gonna be coming over the top of the car. You're gonna put it on like this. And then you're gonna run your finger around and tape that, okay? Then you're gonna take a razor blade and you're gonna cut right along that edge. And then what's gonna leave is just that exposed area is now covered. So, anyways, when I paint my truck, we'll just do the whole process so you guys can see how to paint a car in one day. Crazy paint job too. What am I doing? Oh yeah, let's make a tan. I think what we're gonna do is we'll take Titan Buff and Wicked Opaque Raw Sienna. Let's mix these two together because this has a little yellow in it. We'll get some type of weird color, tannish, and put it on there, okay? One of the videos I've been wanting to do is taking one of the doors, the shop doors, and I did one a few years back where I took it and we've got some like fake half rivet looking heads from like Michael's or something, some bedazzling. Dude, look at, I'm ruining my shirt, man. Looks like McDonald's special sauce. What is in their special sauce? Back to the door. Squirrel. By the way, if you guys haven't noticed, I'm like all over the place all the time. I'm gonna take one of the shop doors. We're gonna paint it with like the silver shine, so it looks like super reflective. And then we're gonna take an actual 2-inch by like 1/4-inch thick wood. We're gonna perimeter the whole thing. We're gonna put real 3D rivets on it. We're gonna paint it. It's a really cool effect you guys can do on your shop doors or your house or whatever. It's super cool. So I'm gonna do a video on that soon. We'll go to Home Depot and go buy a new door or something. You can even paint with that. Okay. This is kind of a little bit orangey. Not quite the color I want. I need somewhere to put this. I'm just mixing all kinds of stuff. Look at this. Now we're putting like a railroad, like it reminds me of like the old Union Pacific Railroad colors. Okay, now that we've mixed up a bunch of nonsense. Still looks like skin color. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. But we're gonna spray it anyway. Gonna spray it anyway. Care, right? That's what this channel's for. We can test it. Test it. All right. Top real quick. It's kind of a peachy tan. Oh, the yellow came out. Look at that yellow. We added a little bit of, right at the end, I added a little bit of the W095 Wicked Opaque Raw Sienna. And that's where we're getting a little bit of that yellowish effect, which is like, cool, man. Almost looks like, what was that color Chevy used to have? Buckskin? Buckskin? Now, one thing with acrylics, and you guys that do acrylics know this, that the needle, sometimes you get, it's called tip dry. I don't know why we gotta go tip dry. Anyways, just make sure you get some of that off there. Ooh, look at that stripe. Obviously, we're not gonna spend 100 hours trying to make this look super perfect because this is for a video for you guys. But once again, you see how it didn't bomb the shop? Even though it's acrylic and it's water-based, wear your masks. I know. Every time I put my mask on, it rubs on the microphone and then it causes all kinds of havoc on the audio. So sometimes I'll put the mask on, sometimes I won't. Your choice. But anyways, wow, look at that. That's a little bit lighter color than I was expecting. But, I don't know. I don't even know what color that is. I'm gonna give that a second and I'm gonna hit it again. And then I think what we'll do, because this side should be dry now. It is. Then we're gonna put some liquid latex on this one while this one's drying. And this one, I think what we'll do is we'll do some fade effects. Okay, so we'll take some white. So remember on some of the old cars, some of them had like a white primer underneath them. So if you want, you can take and fade some whites in a few spots before we start doing our rust effects. I think this one will squirt bottle maybe to do weird color effects on. I don't know. There's really no plan. There's no plan, man. We can just have fun with it. So, all right, let me get this dry. We'll hop back to this one. Okay? And if you guys got questions, write down in the comments, you know, whatever. I know there's man, we have so many color combos we're still supposed to be doing for you guys too. But it's hard to get some of these videos out fast enough. Okay, those should be dry. I'll show you. You see that matte, flat finish that we have there? That's what we're talking about. There's a little bit of sheen on this one, but it's still flat. So it means the squirt bottle will work great on that, Posca pen, anything you want, door logo, which we're gonna do door logos too. Move your hand, please. Okay, let's get back to this one. We're gonna go ahead and put some liquid latex on this, and we're gonna do some patchy spots, and then we're gonna put another color over the top of that so you guys can see how that works. All right. Okay, so airbrushing, model making, intricate stuff. Sometimes us painters use, instead of trying to mask it off with tape, this is incredible white mask, liquid Frisket. So if you airbrush guys remember what Frisket film is, it's like a see-through sticky material that we can use as a stencil. We can cut designs out, we can take it off, we can paint what we're doing and put it back on. Because airbrushing is like a lot of just shadows. That's all it is. Anyways, I think I got this at Michael's. Oh no, I'm sorry. Hobby Lobby, okay? How much was it? 12 bucks. Like I said, you don't have to use this. There's a lot of people that use, I think, Dawn dish liquid, mustard. When on Vegas Rat Rods, when Gene Winfield brought us that 32 door that I painted, the green and the green and black chips that we had originally on the door and everything, I did that with mustard. What was funny is the door smelled like, the whole car smelled like mustard for like 2 weeks. And what I'm getting at is, if you're not understanding where I'm headed with this, what it is we're just masking one color from the other color, okay? So like right now, here's what we'll do. I should probably put a GoPro on my head so you guys can see some of this stuff up a little closer. I'll try and get the camera up here. Ooh, yum. Oh. Okay. I'm just gonna put a little of this, and it's kind of runny, on a paper plate. I just got an old raggedy brush here. I'm just gonna put some of it on there. So maybe we'll put a lot on this one, just for fun, okay? And I'm just gonna start thinking about like, okay, we know that there's gonna be some rusty chips around here. Try not to let it run. It does sometimes anyways. But you know, most places where big rust chips are gonna show up is on the bottom of the rocker, you know, along the door edges, here and there. Once again, you don't have to do this. You can reverse this. You can just do this with paint. I'm doing it because I think in some spots we want to make it look like it's an actual chip. So quiet. It's so quiet. So what are you guys building? What cars are you building? What projects are you doing? What motorcycles? What houses? What projects? Tell me. I want to see them. Instagram, Travis Deeter Instagram. Send me pictures on there. I don't do Facebook that much. I'm on there, but not that much. Or you can always send them to vondeeter.com. And thank you guys for subscribing, all you new guys too, and old fans and friends, family. Thank you guys so much. We just surpassed 10,000 subscribers, which is rad. Thank you, Robbie Layton, if you're listening. You helped us get a big kickstart. Thank you, Merlin's Old School Garage. Thank you, Createx. Thank you, Fast Cut. All you guys have helped shared this stuff. So, and see, like right now, say we were gonna do a door logo. We could actually put our door logo name on here right now and leave this color under it, paint this whole door, and then peel that off. Maybe I should do that if I have time. I have a plotter in there. Man, we'll do that on another video. We'll just do another video with just straight door logos, and we'll show you two different ways. One using a plotter and one doing it old school. But anyways, I'll speed the film up here in a minute. We'll just go through and get a little bit more on here. Just get a little bit more. Come on, more. See, now some of what I'm doing, you see these little tiny speckles? I'll move the camera up here in a minute. So these little tiny speckles I'm doing, that we have to, we have to rub all this back off in a minute. See, it's already starting to dry. Let's put some on the door handle too, why not? But see, what I was saying earlier is you don't have to paint the whole door. You can just paint in the areas with the rust color first and then do this. What I'm gonna show you on the other door is we're gonna take the squirt bottle and we're gonna spray it and get a similar effect, but doing it reverse, without the liquid latex. So another good thing about the latex is, if you don't wanna use a mask, I'll go grab some of the flat mask real quick. I'll be right back. This is our giant mask. Remember I was talking about this before? Here, I'll just tear a piece off here. Whoops. Let's tear a bigger piece. Tear a piece off. You can do big old effects with this too. Like say we wanted to do, say we want to blow out this whole side right here. Or here, let's do one across the top. So you could take this and tear it. Kind of funky. Like this is how we used to make mountains airbrushing years ago. Those are all my airbrush classes. So you could take this and mask off a whole section, right? Like, okay, there's a big old chunk blown out there. Let's do a big old chunk here. Kind of make it jagged if you want. Get your razor blade out, cut a couple holes in this, which I will do in just a second. Did I bring a razor blade out here? See, one of the things you could do, now you can use the stencil too. So see, you can get the same effect with this, okay? But if you wanted to blow a big chunk out, you could take and like cut little holes out through the mask like this, here and there, blah, 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 however you want. If you're gonna do it that way. This is kind of an old-fashioned way of doing it. Before a lot of these really cool FX stencils came out. Just remember when you're using a razor blade ever on paint, try to lay it down as flat as you can, because if you dig into that second layer. And the thing I don't like about using a blade sometimes is it looks unrealistic. It looks bladed, you know what I'm saying? But just for these purposes, we'll show you. You can see the liquid latex is starting to dry. But like here, we'll blow this one out too. That's why sometimes the best way to get some cool effects is just tear it. Tear it. Blow some chunks out, whatever. Blow another chunk out there if you want. That gives you a spot to come back and rust out. Okay, sound effects are included. Let's see, I think I'm gonna grab, let me grab some tape. Let's do a tape line across there too, okay? All right. I'm gonna put a tape line across here with some like chips in it too. So here, I grabbed one of the gas tanks so you can see it. See what I'm talking about? There's a tape line right there, and then it's like, it's been faded away, like it's chipped or torn. You see that? With the two different colors highlighting that. There it is, there it is. So, right there, like it's blown out. Okay, let's do that on this. Okay, for fun, let's put like an old stripe across here. You know what I mean? Know what I mean? I don't know how straight this is gonna be. Okay, kinda, yeah. That's close. Okay. It's an old racing stripe. Yeah, right. Anyways, okay, so what we're gonna do, so when you're striping your cars or whatever for fun, you wanna blow those edges out. Blow it out, like that. Gone. Blow the corner out. Sometimes it's easier to, here, I'm gonna have to pull it back off and do a couple tears in it first. Oop, I pulled my liquid latex off right there. We're gonna have to put that back on. See, the tears look so much better than the razor blade. So we'll do one with the razor blade too, just cause. Like I said, try to keep that blade as flat as possible so you're not digging into that paint below it, or the paint, wherever that cut was, will go. Even sounds like that too. This is what happens when you work by yourself all the time. You just start talking to yourself. What's up, dude? How you doing? It's when you start answering yourself. That's the big problem. Okay. There. Here's our janky looking paint line. Here, let's do one more tear right there. Okay, I'm gonna put some more liquid latex on this, and then we're gonna put a color over that, and then we're gonna add some more stuff. I don't wanna confuse you by jumping back and forth from each door. I probably should have done that on a separate video, but let's do this door, then we'll hop over to that door. Capiche? Okay, I'm gonna add a little bit more liquid latex. Since we painted this whole door rusty, just add some more speckle effects. Let's put some in the middle. There's nothing in the middle. And I added a little bit more, a couple more of these tape blowouts, so. I'm going fast, but if you're going for a realistic look, take your time. If you really take your time, you can really throw some people off where they don't even know. They don't know that it's fake. You know when this comes in the most handy, honestly, is when you're just color matching a vehicle that's already has original paint on it. And that's how this whole process started back in the day. We didn't just decide one day, it's like, I'm just gonna paint cars that look rusty. It's like we were just honestly filling in patch panels and doing things to match existing colors or enhance. Enhance. Okay, let's give this a few minutes. Let's come up with a color. What color should we do? Should we do a teal? I think I still have some of that green from the snot rocket left over. Maybe we could mix up a teal and put it over, because that's a pretty common cool color combo, is the rusty look plus a teal. That stripe would probably look better if it was like white. But you guys can go try all this stuff at home too. The squirt bottle effects is what's really kind of gives it more of an authentic look. Not when you have the harsh lines in it, but when you have very, very subtle lines in it, like what Mother Nature would do with the rainwater coming down on it and dragging the rust colors with it. That's usually the most realistic looking style. But anyways, let me go mix up a color and let's throw some color down on this, okay? All right. All right, so right now we're gonna get ready and put this teal in here, but I got somebody special that's right next door, which is Big Z Customs. Come on in, Big Z. Now, if you guys didn't know, this is my bro, Big Z.
What's up, you guys?
He was on Vegas Rat Rods as well, and at nighttime, when I would airbrush, I would finish late. He would come in even later and clear coat. So
Yes,
when the show didn't give this guy all the respect he deserved, Z was in there working all night long, getting them cars looking glossy and like glass so we could get them out to the customers. So
Sure
we thank you.
I appreciate you. Thank you, man.
Yeah, and he's right next door. His shop's next door. Lowrider, Master, King, whatever you want to call it. What do we call you? Or what is it? Vegas Most Wanted?
Oh, yeah, that's our car club, Vegas Most Wanted.
There you go.
We, you know, hop low riders, put them on 97 to 100 inches off the ground, and back up again. So, yeah. And I do frame off restorations as well. So, you know, we pretty much a jack of all trades, me and Travis here.
That's right. So if you guys need any, you know, I'm stepping a little bit out of the car world as far as I'll still do some paint stuff, but look up Big Z Customs. He, like I said, he's right next door to me. He does a ton of beautiful cars. So hit him up, man.
Thank you, guys. Have a good one. Yes, sir.
All right, we got some minty teal in here. Okay. Hey, that was cool. Big Z came over. I can hear him talking next door. So let's take off some of these mask pieces. Okay. And then what we'll do is we'll probably take some Scotch-Brite and we'll start rubbing off this liquid latex, okay? And then I'll get the camera and we'll get a little closer. And then let's see, what are we gonna do? I think we'll grab the airbrush. We'll do some squirt bottle effects on here too. And then I don't know, we'll just keep going, huh? We'll just keep doing some different stuff. Actually, let me grab a microfiber. Microfiber pulls it off better because the Scotch-Brite will actually kind of scratch the paint unless that's the look you're going for. As a matter of fact, I'll grab 2 pieces. I'll grab one of each. Okay, one quick thing I'm gonna do is I've got kind of a bone color in here, like a tannish white. I'm just gonna haze a little bit of white in here before we do the squirt bottle. So that's just mimicking kind of the white primer coming through that would have been on some of these color combos back in the day. So let's do that real quick with our LPH 80 for my Wata. Whoa, 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 turn you down, guy. Calm down there, bud. Ooh, it's a little thick. if I'm in the right spot. Okay. I know on Chevys, that's exactly where that primer starts coming through. Okay. That's just a little bit of an accent color that we're gonna do in between our other colors. Okay, so I got a piece of Scotch-Brite. Let me grab a microfiber. See how that's coming off right there? That's the liquid latex. I also grabbed a 2000 pad. I don't know if you guys have seen these for your DA when you're cutting and buffing. A lot of times it's a soft pad, see that? Put that on your DA. But it also helps take this latex right back off. Sorry for all the squeaky noises. But yeah, let's get all that latex off there. Which, like I said, had somebody actually ask about using mustard. Yes, you can use mustard. You can use toothpaste. You can use Dawn dish liquid. There's lots of cool things you can use as a mask for different effects. All right, I should probably speed the film up. That way you guys don't have to sit here and watch me do this and make all this noise. I almost think the soft pad might work even faster. Maybe? Let's see. Magic eraser would be great. Microfiber catches it though pretty good. Wow, what is squeaking back there? Just make sure you get all this off before you clear coat it, or you will see it. Okay. So what that does is it kind of gives you, oh my gosh, stop it with the noise, you're annoying me. What that can do is, you know, depending on how thick you put that top layer on, you can really put paint edges on it. I didn't put it on super thick, but you can still feel it. There's a little bit of a chip there, or a, you know what I mean? And you can do different color combos underneath there. You can do black, red, silver, gray, blah, blah, blah. That's what's cool about this. Use your imagination, come up with cool colors or match an existing color on one of the vehicles you're doing. I am so sorry for that squeak. That is just raggedy sounding. Oh my gosh. It's getting hot in here. Okay, did we get all of it? No, gosh, there's more. Okay, so I like to do the squirt bottle stuff before the airbrushing, but you can do it either way. See, it looks kind of funky right now, funky. But, all right, let's switch to squirt bottle. So let's get some water, and let's get some like burnt sienna in a squirt bottle. And we're gonna do that. And then I think we're gonna add a darker brown to it and some other colors. We could even go back and change that line color. You could fade in a white line in there if you wanted to. But let's add to this. Let's add rusty, more flavor to this, okay? All right. Okay, I'm switching to Detail Burnt Umber 0069, Createx Colors Wicked Colors. It's a little bit darker brown. I want to play with that for a minute. Whoop, there's still some, I see some more liquid latex. Don't forget, it could be all over the place. Itchy. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of fade in some of this brown. Fade like this, okay? And then we'll come back with the brighter burnt sienna. So let me get through this real quick. Like I said, you don't have to be a professional airbrush artist to do this because this isn't very high detail. This is like a quick rundown on airbrushing. Down for air, back for paint. See that adjustment? And then your depth. You get real close, this can be sharp. If you get far away, it can be like a fade. Anyways, let's fade some of this in there real quick, okay? Let's do it. Yeah, by the time you start adding all these browns, the door will get pretty dingy. So, depending on how far you want to go with it, stop making noise. Shh. Okay, I'm gonna back the camera out real quick. And all I'm doing is just barely hazing it here and there. We could put some runs in it here in a minute. And then at the end, maybe we'll add some black too, to really give some of the depth to it. But one of the things you can do, like with the stencil, especially in these big patches like this, you can take the stencil I need a camera to follow me around. You can take the stencil and go over that stuff and darken it up. So what I'm doing is, it'll start giving it little blotchy effects, and you keep layering it, keep layering it, keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it, and then you can actually start to replicate what real pitted rust looks like. And you can do lighter colors with it too. Sometimes the lighter colors really do help. That's kind of, as a matter of fact, how I did the industrial injection truck. Sprayed a lot of water on it and did droplet effects with a light tan, which looks like dirt. So you can keep adding these effects to it, darken it up. Like I said, I can sit here for hours and do this, but I'm just trying to get you guys the basic ideas. And I got this pretty thin. So see, like even right here, most of the time, obviously rust is it's gonna be faded, you know, in that area. So you could come in, try to turn the air down. You could come in and darken these patches up. When you add the black to it, it gives it more depth. But say like right there, say you wanted a couple little fades coming out of there. Where these little pits are. You know, like you could go heavy right there. I got a little dirt in there. You go heavy right there. Okay, I'm gonna back the camera up because I'm probably a little too close so you guys can get a better view, and then I'll come back closer with the camera for you, okay? So let's blast through this real quick. See how that white's in there, like that fade, it's still there? Looks cool. So let's get some fades in there. I'm doing this way faster than I normally would. We normally would be taking our time, a little bit more time. So I like to go in and add a little bit darker color to break that up a little bit. Okay, we'll get this shadowing, kind of a foreshadowing of the beginning of what this is going to look like. Our door handle won't stay. Let's make the door handle look rusty, okay? Yeah. Okay, keyhole. Get some big patchy fades going. If you guys haven't tried airbrushing, I would. Go to Harbor Freight, they have one, I think it's called the Avalon or something, for like 25 bucks. It works really good for stuff like this, you know what I mean? And then the better you get, and when you start painting skulls and cool stuff, you'll probably step up to a better airbrush. But if you're just looking to do your car, and maybe you're not really wanting to be an airbrush guy or whatever, but you should be able to do this at home with just a little bit of practice, and then you can do your own car or wall or game room or man cave or whatever you're doing. Because obviously rust isn't always patchy like this. We're just going extreme, so you guys can see some of the cool effects we can create with this stuff. This is pretty thinned out too. So I'm having to go over it a couple of times. Okay, let's step down here a little bit, down to the bottom. Whoop, camera goes that way, not that way. Let's get down here real quick. Finish up some of this stuff. Remember to do your edges, because, you know, there's always rusty around the edges. I'm a little rusty around the edges. Old man. You can even come back and sand this with 2000. All right, let's see. Do we got enough fades in there, guys? What do you think? Should we do a little bit more? I think it's almost time to bust out some of the other colors. Let's do a squirt bottle on this real quick. And then we're gonna come back with some darker browns and blacks. Okay? Okay, that was our raw umber. Switching guns. Okay, I'm going to take our burnt sienna with no reducer in it, okay? Just going to get a little bit down on this here squirt bottle. And then I'm going to add some water. So there's about that much paint in it right now. I'm going to add about that much water. That's it. Okay, be right back. Okay, we're back. We have some burnt sienna in a bottle. I've got so much paint on me. And then we have plain water, just plain old water. Okay, so we're gonna put some plain old water on there first. That way it'll run. I may not put a lot up here because it gets all over the wall. But this is where you can get some of your soft fades effects and stuff like that. Okay, that's pretty wet. All right, let's do a couple spots here. You could pretty much do the whole door if you want to. And fade it back in. Just do a couple patches here and there. Now sometimes you have to do this 2 or 3 times to get the effect that you are looking for. But right there, and I know this door is tilted, so it's all the runs are probably running tilted. We're gonna break some of these up. And if you don't like a spot, come back with your water right there and just get it out of your way. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, that way we don't interrupt some of the runs that we already have going. So I'm gonna dry this real quick, and then we're gonna add more. Okay, so let's dry this real quick. Okay, so that's dry now. Do you see those soft fades? So we can keep adding more if you want. Sorry, we're getting a little reflection from the lights. But now it's time to do the burnt sienna airbrush and then some black. But maybe we'll do a little bit more squirt bottle right in the middle or on these corners real quick. Let me do that one more time, okay? We'll make it look even darker. Where are my bottles? Where's our bottles? Take a little bit more water. Now, if you don't use the water first, this is what happens. So this color, this is what I'm saying. So this color over the silver looks like candy. See what I mean? It's that thin. You see that in the daylight, it looks like candy. Now paint jobs like this, I prefer a matte finish, not a gloss finish. If it's more like the Haunted Rod or like Justin's C30 sauce paint, where it's the bronze effect, that looks amazing with high gloss clear. You can really see that candy effect right there. So we're just gonna do a couple patches over here, and I think we'll call it for that. Chasing it with just plain old water. So if you don't catch it quick enough, it'll leave an actual hard line there. So have your water right there with you. This is looking funky. All right, let's let that do its thing for a second. And then I'm gonna go get some black in the airbrush and some, well, first we're gonna do our burnt sienna, then we're gonna do black, okay? Be right back. Okay, I've got more burnt sienna, 0074, detail burnt sienna, Wicked colors, Createx colors, okay? This is the most requested color that people have been asking me probably for the past 12 years. They're like, what color is that? This is it, right here. This is probably the best color to mimic rust. I mean, there's 3 shades, but this is probably, I'd say, the one that stands out the most. You can pretty much use this over any color to get that effect, except black. Now, if you spray it over black, it looks like burnished brown, which is pretty rad. So that's a cool effect as well. So I need a big bubbly fender to do that on so you guys can see it, because it looks really cool. It looks like old Chevy, like on the old Tri-5 cars where the front half was primered like black, and then the back half was primered in red oxide. Anyway, so this, get out of there, is, this is just to highlight a little bit more, you know, where you can pinpoint a couple spots here and there, like say you wanna fade out a little bit more, you know, make it look maybe, because this door, honestly, let's be real guys, this probably doesn't look very realistic. You know, it probably wouldn't be this patchy, but we're going extreme so you guys can see what you can do, you know. You can be very subtle or you could go harsh with it. So, you know, this is that same color that we squirt bottled on, but what we're doing is just kind of darkening up some of that in there. And then I'm gonna still come back with the black. I did have a little bit of black in here at first. Probably still coming out of the gun, right there. See how like orange that is? Burnt orange, burnt sienna. Let's do some runs. We'll darken up that line a little bit. Get jagged with it. It's crooked. Okay, get the camera a little closer for you guys. Let's find a spot. Let's say there. Okay. Where is it? That one? That one. Sorry. So see how that's just, it's adding a little bit more to it. Sometimes I follow the lines of the actual squirt bottle. So, like there's some squirt bottle lines right here, right? So just every once in a while, sometimes it's cool to just darken that one up a little bit. If you're going for like a really run look. Now I'm barely pulling back on the airbrush. So just think when you're doing a whole car, this can take a while. Okay, I'm gonna back the camera up, do some more, and then we'll switch to black. Woo. All right. Try not to get our hose. I just dropped it in there. Look at that. Oh well. All right. Let's get some more fades in there. This is like something crazy, like Halloween haunted, droopy runs, rust runs. I could probably spend 8 hours on this door, but we can't do that with the video, so I'll try to hurry here. Get some fades in there. And let's see, is this camera showing the bottom? Yeah, let's get some of this faded down here. So it's always good to go around those edges, you know what I mean? Kind of because, you know, in real life, rust does fade out like that. Yeah, kind of go around those edges that you guys did. Get a little bit darker color in there so you can give it some depth. And like I said, well, then we'll start adding a little bit of a soft black to it. This is super extreme. And like I said, well, normally no rust would look like that. Did I just wipe paint on my face? And then put a little bit of, you know, some little doodads here and there. Some happy little doodads. Boop, 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 boop. It's like little fades, little fades. What else? Do we want a little more? A little more? No when to say when. Or it might look like this and it might look like a cartoon. But maybe that's what you're looking for. Maybe you want it to look super crazy. I see a lot of wraps that look like this because they photocopy a wall that looks like this and then they wrap cars with it. But you can be the cool people and be like, no, mine's not a wrap, I painted it. Painted it myself. So. And then do flames over the top of it. Do something over the top of it. That would be cool too. I'm just barely pulling back on the airbrush and just making some little patchy spots here and there. I wish we had a whole vehicle so you guys can see how we, you know, do the edges and stuff. So we will on one of my trucks. I would love to just do this all the time and just keep doing different paint effects and tricks. Okay, enough of that. Let's grab the FX stencil and some black paint, and then we'll shadow some of these big orange spots with some darker little speckles in there, okay? All right, let's do that. Well, I hope this is showing up on camera. It's always hard to tell with the lighting. Okay, you don't have to do it this way. You can do it with a brush too. And you can do a reverse. Like, see how this is like I got kind of a soft edge going here? If you want, take your stencil and just, ooh, your air's high. Just get a little bit of a fade in there, man. Get a little bit of a burnt, man, burnt. And then if you want to, I really have the air up kind of high. That's a little extreme right there, bud. Let's do a little in here, in this one. And just lightly get a little darker spot in there. And you can come back with the burnt sienna over the top of that and it gives it a pretty cool reflection. But you don't have to add the black. I like adding the black. It kind of darkens it up and starts to actually help it look more like a realistic effect. You know what I mean? But like I said, guys, I'm going really fast compared to what I would normally be taking my little bit more time on this. You know, and you can freehand some stuff in there too. Look at that one, that's little tiny speckles. All right, let's back the camera out a little bit. Let's see, get you guys somewhere around here. Got the air hose all hung up in my tripod. Nobody likes when that happens. Let's see. Now, also, sometimes don't forget the end of the needle will get tip dry too, so clean that off. Because it's an acrylic, so the air will dry it pretty quick. But let's get a little black in some of these open, big orange open spots. Especially in the corners. Corners, that's normally where you would see like a burnished dark rust color is in those corners. So let me hit some of these and we'll get up close with the camera. And you can go with a darker brown too. You don't have to do a black. I like the black. Just depends on what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? Whoa, 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 there, buddy. You just slow it down there. There's a big chunk of, there's a hole right there anyway, so let's just add to it right there. Come up and fade it from the bottom. We'll add some stuff in there. And on my puddle of muck. All right, let's do, see, like we could even make that line black for fun. You can even go back after this and sand through some of this. Or not. Okay, I say we do a dust fade over the top of it real quick with the air trick, okay? Let's do that. Let me get you guys closer because it just looks fuzzy from back there. And I know it's hard to see in the light, but there's the black in there. So out in the sun, it really starts to show up like that's more darker, you know what I mean? Like I said, you can keep going. From here, you can come back with more burnt sienna, which is that light orange color, and fade it out even more like real rust would be. You know, it'd be faded out more, 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 more. More is less is more. Okay, let's try that again. This time, I won't spray it with so much water. Water. Be the water. Where's that from, guys? Is that Bruce Lee? Okay. Do a fan. Okay, now that we dusted it with our yellow, let's blow the water off. See all the little dirty pits we have now over the top of that? That was the water that was under there. So you can do a whole section like that. So sorry about the air compressor. You can do a whole section of an air, like say you're doing a brown car and you want to give it multiple speckles of different colors over it. Keep doing that with the water. That's the same old water droplet effect trick that we were doing on lowriders. So, all right. One last thing, I'm gonna grab some more sienna and add that to it, and then we should be done. All right, so you see how that gave it little tiny speckles. Maybe I'll grab the camera and get closer again, but I'm back to my sienna, just playing around with a little of that, because there's some spots I just want to fade out a little more, want a little bit more orange. But it's kind of endless, guys, what you can do. You know, different colors, different schemes. Doesn't always have to be the fake patina, you know, it could be something else, but if you're looking for like a crazy extreme look, I mean, usually if you guys go to SEMA, you know which ones are mine. At SEMA, you usually see, you're like, oh yeah, I know Travis did that one because it looks weird. He's the weird guy. Oh, he's the guy with the fake patina painted car. That's him. But anyways, there was a couple quick tricks for you guys. I hope that helps. I'm not gonna clear coat this one because, boy, I really got heavy on that one. I'm not gonna clear coat it because you guys are pretty much seeing what a satin would look like anyways. But there you go. Now that would look cool with like a bone-colored door logo on there, wouldn't it? But see, like, and now, so when we go and do this other door, I think on the other door we'll do some more like brush effects and stuff. Like you can do a lot of these same effects in reverse where we're just using a paintbrush. But like right now, you could go in and add some black to that. You can take a razor blade and chip away some stuff. You can sand it because you have the other color underneath it. So you can sand through it. Sorry, I keep stepping in wet paint. I'm gonna roll this thing out in the sun so you can see what it looks like without this stupid reflection from the LEDs. But anyways, guys, I hope this helps you guys on some of the patina stuff. I'm gonna keep doing different effects too. We're gonna do door logos, maybe a race number on one of them as well. Doesn't always have to be patina stuff. I've just been getting a lot of requests for that, so we figured let's go ahead and knock a couple of them out for you guys. Next will be the tan door. We're gonna do some squirt bottle effects with that one a different way, okay? All right, guys, let me go wheel this outside. Thanks again. I appreciate you guys, each and every one of you. I hope this helps you. Don't forget, Createx colors, that's what I'm using. To me, it's one of the best things out there, acrylic. CreateXcolors.com. You can buy it all over the place. If you need your car painted by me, I travel, so let me know. Go to VonDeeter.com. Email me at Travis@VonDeeter.com. Very simple. And yeah, we'll get on a plane or jump in a car and come see you guys, okay? Well, I don't know if being out here in the sun or the overcast helps or not. But see, now you can see the dust effects right there. And like I said, you guys can get sharper at it. I'm having to do this really fast for a video. So So some of these lines are not very sharp. You guys sharpen them up. The blacks do help bring that rust effect out. Squirt bottle it as many times as you want. But there you go. I hope that helps, guys. All right, now let's do this one. Check out the next video.